How many times have you held your little one in your arms, listening as their cries grow louder and louder, while you rush to get a bottle ready or prepare to nurse, only to wonder if you could have caught their hunger sooner? If you have ever had that thought, the answer is a reassuring yes. In reality, most infants do not start crying the very moment they begin to feel hungry. Crying is actually the final signal they send out. Before that happens, your baby's body has already sent out many subtle cues. Those signs are like your baby's gentle way of saying, "I am starting to get hungry." Unfortunately, because these signals are quite quiet, many parents, especially those with their first child, often do not recognize them right away. As a result, by the time we notice, the baby is already crying loudly. And at this point, feeding becomes much more of a challenge. The baby is often too hungry to stay calm enough to latch properly. Some babies will cry while they try to feed, some keep pulling away from the breast or bottle, and others swallow too much air, which leads to gas and discomfort later on. All of this happens simply because we missed those first quiet signals. The good news is that you can absolutely learn to read your baby's unique language if you just take the time to observe them. You will soon realize that every sound and every tiny movement carries a specific meaning. In today's video, we are going to explore the 7 most common signs that a Canadian baby is starting to get hungry, even when they are not crying yet. If you recognize these signs early, feeding time will be much smoother for both your baby and for you. So, let us begin with the first sign, which is also the earliest one to appear. Sign number 1. The baby starts turning their head to search. You may have seen this before without even realizing what it meant. When held against your shoulder or lying in your arms, your baby suddenly turns their head from left to right. Their little mouth might open up. It is as if their nose is trying to find something nearby. If their cheek accidentally touches your arm, their mouth immediately turns toward that exact spot. Many parents think this is just a random reflex, but it is actually a very important survival instinct that almost every healthy baby has from the moment they are born. Doctors call this the rooting reflex. The moment the cheek or the corner of the mouth is gently touched, the baby's brain sends a signal, causing the head to turn toward the source. This is the mechanism that helps newborns find the breast during their very first hours of life. What is interesting is that this reflex does not just happen when someone touches their cheek. Many babies, when they start feeling hungry, will automatically turn their head back and forth, as if searching for a milk source, even if no one is touching them. This is the very first reminder that the baby's body sends to the parents. If you notice it now and begin feeding, most babies will feed very calmly. They will latch better, swallow more steadily, take in less air, and they often fall asleep more easily after finishing their meal. On the contrary, if you miss this stage, your baby will move on to stronger signals, and that leads us to the second sign that many parents see every day but often misunderstand. Sign number 2. The baby starts sucking on their hands, their fists, or anything near their mouth. If you have ever seen your baby constantly bringing their hands to their mouth, sucking on their fingers, or even trying to suck on the blanket wrapped around them, they are trying to tell you something very simple. I am starting to get hungry. This is one of the signs that appears quite early, well before the crying starts. Many parents often get confused and think their baby is just practicing sucking on their hands or exploring their own body. Actually, both of those things can be true in the first few months of life. Infants love putting their hands in their mouth as part of their sensory development, but when this happens right after they wake up, along with head turning or constant lip licking, then there is a very high chance they are hungry. I suggest noticing one thing in particular. A baby who is full will usually suck on their hands very gently. After a few minutes, they might shift to looking around or just playing with their hands. In contrast, when they are hungry, the sucking motion will be much more intense. Some babies suck so hard that you can actually hear a smacking sound. Some try to fit their whole fist in their mouth, while others might even try to suck on your shoulder while being held. This is because the survival instinct in infants is very strong. Their brain is trying to find anything that can provide nourishment. If you meet their needs at this moment, they will usually feed very well. But if you wait another 10 or 15 minutes, things might change quickly. The crying will start to kick in, and feeding will become much harder. There is one thing I want to share with first-time parents. Please do not depend too much on the clock. Many people try to feed their baby exactly every 3 hours. If it has only been 2 hours and the baby shows hunger signs, they might try to soothe the baby back to sleep instead. However, some babies going through a growth spurt may need to eat much sooner. On the other hand, some babies sleep deeply and do not need to eat exactly on a rigid schedule. The most important thing is to observe your own baby, because no two babies are exactly alike. Sign number 3. The baby constantly licks their lips, smacks their mouth, or makes sucking sounds. This is perhaps the signal I like the most because it is so easy to spot. If you watch your baby's face closely as they begin to wake up, you will see their little mouth start to move. They purse their lips, they lick their lips, and they smack their mouth. Sometimes, they even make tiny sounds as if they are already nursing in their sleep. This is the moment their digestive system has begun to wake up. Their body is preparing for the next feeding. Some babies even do this while their eyes are still closed. If parents notice right then and gently pick them up to feed, the baby usually will not cry at all. This is also why many experienced mothers and fathers often say, "I rarely let my baby cry from hunger." It is not because their babies are different. It is because they have become used to recognizing these tiny signals over time. You will be the same way soon enough. You will not need to look at the clock or have anyone remind you. You will only need to look at your baby's face for a few seconds to know it is time to eat. That is a skill that every Canadian parent eventually learns through practice. Sign number 4. The baby becomes alert and moves around more. Have you ever seen your baby sleeping very peacefully? Then suddenly their legs start kicking gently? Their arms might stretch out, their head turns back and forth, their eyelids flutter, and their face shows more expression. But their eyes might still be closed. This is a very interesting moment, because many parents think the baby is still sleeping, so they let the baby lie there. In reality, many babies are transitioning from deep sleep to an active state, and the very first need after waking up is usually to eat. If you pay attention and pick them up right at this moment, they will feed very calmly. But if you wait until they are fully awake and start to feel frustrated, they will burst into tears, and feeding them will be much more difficult. A small tip that many pediatricians across Canada share with parents is to not wait for the crying to start. Observe the first movements of your baby's body. Often just a few minutes of observation each day will help you recognize your baby's unique rhythm. For example, maybe every 2.5 hours, your baby will start to wiggle. 5 minutes later, they will lick their lips, and then they will turn their head to search. If they still are not fed, that is when they start to cry. Once you understand this sequence, taking care of your baby becomes much lighter and more predictable. You will no longer feel like you are constantly reacting to their cries. Instead, you will always be one step ahead of them. This is exactly what helps many parents feel that caring for a newborn becomes much easier after the first few weeks. Sign number 5. The baby becomes restless, frowns, and makes small grunting sounds. This is the stage that many parents often miss, because at this point, the baby is still not crying. They are just starting to become more impatient. If you look closely, you will see their facial expression change. Their eyebrows might knit together slightly, and their little mouth tightens up. They make small sounds like or ah, or tiny noises, as if they are trying to call someone to their side. Their legs keep kicking, and their hands open and close. Their head turns more frequently now. This is the baby trying to tell their parents, "I am hungry. Please help me." Unfortunately, many people misunderstand this stage. They might think the baby wants to be held, is just sleepy, or is simply being fussy. And so, they continue to rock them to sleep or swing the cradle. Or perhaps they give them a pacifier for the first few minutes. The baby might calm down a bit, but because their actual need for food has not been met, a moment later they will cry louder. This is why many parents feel frustrated and wonder why the baby is still crying after being soothed. Actually, it is not because you are soothing them wrong, it is because the real cause is hunger. An infant's brain works in a specific order when they first get hungry. They use very gentle signals first, and if the parents do not notice, the brain will increase the alert level. The movements will get stronger and the sounds will get louder until the crying begins. This is like a traffic light. It starts at green, then turns to yellow, and finally red. The crying is the red light. If we catch it at the green or yellow light, everything will be much easier for everyone. Sign number 6. The baby has trouble focusing and becomes very irritable. This is the point where the hunger has become much more obvious and urgent. At this stage, you might see your baby losing patience quickly. You pick them up and they cry. You put them down and they still cry. You show them a toy, but they do not look at it. You talk to them and they do not really react to your voice. Their entire attention is now focused on one thing only, and that is finding food. Many parents feel very surprised because the baby was just smiling a few minutes ago. That is because for infants, every need is very primal. When hungry, the brain will prioritize finding milk over anything else in the world. They will no longer be interested in toys, and they will not want to look at things around them. Even the calmest babies can become irritable when hunger lasts too long. Some babies start to turn red in the face, and some breathe faster. Others constantly stretch and then curl their bodies up tight. These are all signals that their body really needs to be fed right now. If you are preparing to feed them at this stage, try to keep the environment very quiet. Turn off the television, dim the lights, and limit the number of people talking at once. A peaceful environment will help your baby calm down faster and feed more effectively. Sign number 7. The baby cries loudly. This is the latest signal of hunger. This is the sign that almost every parent recognizes, but it is also the sign we should try to avoid whenever possible. Because when a baby is crying intensely from hunger, their body is in a state of stress, their heart rate goes up, and their breathing is faster. All their muscles are tense. Some babies swallow a lot of air while crying. When they are finally given the breast or the bottle, they might latch very frantically. They swallow too fast, and then they might choke. Then they cry again and continue to try to feed. This not only makes the baby more tired, but it also leads to gas and fussiness later. After the feeding, many parents might worry that their baby is refusing to eat or is being difficult. In fact, it is not that they do not want to eat. It is that they are already too hungry, too tired, and too overstimulated to eat comfortably. If you find yourself in this situation, do not rush to force them to eat right away. Take a minute or two to help them calm down first. Hold them close to your chest and talk to them very softly. Rock them slowly until the crying subsides. Then start the feeding. You will find them much more cooperative once they feel safe and calm. This is also why experts always encourage parents to learn how to recognize early hunger cues. It is not so that the baby never cries, but it is to reduce unnecessary crying spells that cause stress. In closing, if you only remember one thing from this video today, I hope it is this. Crying is not the first sign that your baby is hungry. Before they cry, your baby has tried to talk to you in many different ways. They turn their head to search, they suck on their hands, and they lick their lips. They smack their mouth and they move around more. They make small grunting sounds and they become restless and impatient. Each of those signals is a very gentle message. Mom and Dad, I am starting to get hungry. The more you understand these signals, the more you will feel that caring for your baby is getting easier every day. You will be less stressed, your baby will feed more comfortably, and they will likely sleep better too. Those late-night wake-ups will not feel as overwhelming when you know exactly what they need. Remember that no one is born knowing exactly how to take care of a baby. With every passing day, you are learning something new and wonderful about your little one. And that is the most beautiful part of the journey of parenthood here in Canada. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video until the end. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it so other parents can also access this reliable knowledge. If you have any questions or want to share your own experience, please leave a comment below. I am always happy to listen and accompany families on the journey of caring for their little angels. Wishing you and your baby health, peace, and many happy moments together.